What's up YouTube, I'm Mike, and today I'm back with a video that I promised some time ago. Today we're going to be talking about how to potentially increase the height of your child. This video was actually inspired by Cody Copa, the 14-year-old on Trenbolone. I was, when he first came on the scene, I was very active in the comments section on his Instagram page, and somebody made the comment that his use of performance-enhancing drugs was going to stunt his growth. I responded to that comment saying that I felt like it was unlikely, even though there is data to suggest that the use of anabolic steroids well, not just anabolic steroids, but steroids in general, I believe including glucocorticoid steroids, I think, if I remember correctly, can speed up bone growth and could lead to premature closing of the growth plates. The problem is that Cody's already 14 years old, and he's not using that much gear, and he only has a couple of years left to grow anyway. And I made the comment that I felt like it was highly unlikely that starting the use of performance-enhancing drugs, the doses he's using at his age, is not likely to negatively affect his adult height. But because when I decide to make claims on other people's content, or when I respond to other people in the comments, I actually like to know what I'm talking about. I know this is going to come as a shock to a lot of you who like to comment just complete abject nonsense from a total position of ignorance. You seem to have no fear of showing your ignorance in comment sections, whether it's on YouTube, especially on Instagram. Instagram is just full of some modern day mental marvels. So I did what I always do. If I'm going to make a claim, I want to back it up with research. So I started to study what the effects hormones would have on potentially stunting the growth of a child in puberty. And what I came across was something potentially game-changing, not only for Cody Copa, but any adolescent boy, my son included, who we'll be getting to in a minute. This is one of the rare times that I'm probably going to put this study up on your screen, because it's really not that long. There's not a whole lot that I need to clip together here, so I'll probably put it down here, somewhere around here. So the study is titled Anastrozole Increases Predicted Adult Height of Short Adolescent Males Treated with Growth Hormone. So let me first put into perspective why this study is so exciting. I have researched the use of growth hormone to increase the height of a child for some time now. My son, his mother is only about like 5'4", I'm only 5'10", and a few years ago, before he hit his most recent growth spurt, he was lagging behind his peers a good deal, and it was causing him conflicts at school. He was being picked on by both girls and boys about being short, and this is something pervasive in our society. Short guys tend to take abuse from both sexes. And it can negatively affect your ability to get, maybe get the girl that you really want. It shouldn't, because if a girl cares about that, then she's probably not the one for you. But nevertheless, it can cause problems. And because growing up is hard enough as it is, I wanted to remove all possible, negative factors from my son's adolescence. And so we had considered using human growth hormone to help him try to increase his height. All of the studies that I read up until this one, basically, and there are a lot of them. This is not new. This has been tested for many decades now. Basically, all of the studies showed that while human growth hormone would speed up the growth of a child, that it would basically just get them to their predicted adult height faster. It would not really add any significant adult height above and beyond what their genetic potential was. There was some gain, but it was very negligible. It wasn't even an inch. It was like a few centimeters, maybe, you could add by using growth hormone for like 3-year periods of time. Obviously, growth hormone is not cheap, depending on where you get it. And what's most important is the child is having to inject growth hormone every single day for a 3-year period. This is a daunting task even for me. I inject a lot of compounds. I use GH. I use lots of peptides. I have to pin myself multiple times a day. and it's a beating. And we were not excited about having our son do this. You know, he's going to sleepovers with friends. Sometimes he'll be gone for a weekend. He's going to have to tote this growth hormone around. He's going to have to find parents that are comfortable with him doing injections in their house. It was not something we were really interested in putting him through or paying the cost of, you know, for a few centimeters of extra adult height. Until I came across this rather groundbreaking, revolutionary study. So as I said, the study is titled, should be up on your screen now, Anastrozole increases predicted adult height of short adolescent males treated with growth hormone. A randomized placebo-controlled multi-center trial for 1 to 3 years. The second thing that I will mention before we get into this study is that a lot of the studies done on adolescent boys, I guess it's also girls, they look at children who have growth hormone deficiencies. I don't think there's any signs that my son has a growth hormone deficiency. This seems to be, from what I recall, not looking at any deficiencies, just trying to see what could be done to increase the predicted adult height for children who are trending on the short side. So it says in the context, the process of epiphyseal fusion during puberty is regulated by estrogen even in males. Our objective was to investigate whether anastrozole, a potent aromatase inhibitor, could delay bone age acceleration and increase predicted adult height in adolescent boys with GH deficiency. So it is looking at GH deficiency again. So they've got 52 adolescent males with GH deficiency treated with GH were randomized to co-treatment with anastrozole or placebo daily for up to 36 months. So they're going to give these adolescent boys growth hormone alongside anastrozole, because what they found is that estrogen, the surge of estrogen at or about 16 years of age is what actually causes the growth plates to close. I have talked to a doctor friend about this, and he confirmed that this is a well-known thing in the medical community, and it's what's responsible for females typically being shorter than males. Typically, females get a burst of estrogen that is higher and is received earlier than their male counterparts. It closes their growth plates and tends to cause females to be shorter than males. One of the interesting things is that my wife has struggled with low estrogen really her entire life. She was put on estrogen replacement at a very early age to cope with some issues she was having when she was young. She's 5'9". Now she has a tall father, but we began to wonder maybe she had low estrogen as a child, and that's why she grew to the height that she did relative to other boys who were not as tall as her. So what are the results of this experiment? The results are that 50 subjects completed 12 months, 41 completed 24 months, and 28 completed 36 months. Let me get my calculator out here since they insist upon using centimeters instead of the much more useful inches, so that we can do some conversions here, inches to centimeters. So in the first group, linear growth was comparable between groups. However, there was a significantly slower increase in bone age advancement from baseline in the anastrozole group versus placebo group after the 2-year period and after 3 years. This resulted in a net increase in predicted adult height of 4.5 centimeters in the anastrozole group at 24 months. So 4.5 centimeters is 1.77 inches. Now this is something totally different we're talking about here. This is taking a child who might end up being 5'8" and getting him close to 5'10", which is going to put him at about the median for male. The average height for males, I believe, is 5'10". So if you've got a child that's trending on the short side, you give him 24 months of HGH and anastrozole, and you can add 1.77 inches to his predicted adult height. At the 36-month mark, compared with a 1 centimeter gain at both time points in the placebo group. Excuse me, I missed it. I'm sorry. So 24 months led to 4.5 centimeters or 1.77 inches. At 36 months, they were up 6.7 centimeters, which is 2.65 inches. Over 2.5 inches of increased height above and beyond what the predicted adult height was. And it says this is compared to placebo, where the children only gained 1 centimeter at that time. So 36 months of HGH plus anastrozole led to 2.6 inches in additional height, whereas in the placebo group, they gained 0.4 inches. Okay, this is a huge difference. So you've got a full 2.25 inch gain on a child from 36 months of GH plus anastrozole. So what are the side effects, of course? That's what you're probably wondering. Okay, cool. So you added a couple inches to this kid's height, but you probably ruined his endocrine system, and now he's gonna have all these problems. Estradiol and estrone concentrations increased less in the anastrozole group compared with placebo group. All of the boys on the aromatase inhibitor had normal tempo of virilization. Safety data, including glucose and plasma lipid concentrations, were comparable between groups. Conclusion: anastrozole increases adult height potential of adolescent boys on GH therapy while maintaining normal pubertal progression after 2 to 3 years. This treatment offers an alternative in promoting growth in GH deficient boys in puberty. Long-term follow-up is needed to elucidate fully the safety and efficacy of this approach. So of course, let's see when this study was published. This study was published in 2008. I did not come across any studies following this where any damage was seen to it, was found to have been caused to any of these boys. So growth hormone is something that has been given to children for a very long time now. It is a very safe protocol. I don't know of any significant adverse effects ever reported from the use of growth hormone in children. And then with the addition, and unfortunately it does not detail how well, probably does it down here somewhere, how much anastrozole was given. Let's see if it does tell us. 1 milligram of oh my God. A physical examination including pubertal Tanner staging, accurate height measurement, blood tests, yammer was done. Dual energy X-ray absorptiometry was performed before initiation of study drug whenever possible, but was not required. After the baseline visit, patients took 1 milligram of anastrozole or placebo daily in addition to GH. Wow, that's a lot of anastrozole. I've been on 1 milligram of anastrozole daily for the past week and a half, trying to mitigate all of the nightmares that were caused by me adding mint to an already very high aromatizable cycle that I was on. And I mean, I've had no negative side effects at 1 milligram, but I'm shocked at this dose for children. So it sounds to me like they are effectively knocking their estrogen out or nearly out with 1 milligram of anastrozole per week. To put this into perspective, my son is actually already on anastrozole. He's been on anastrozole for, I can't even remember how long now. It's been probably a year. He had gyno, shocking. He had pubescent gyno. When he started puberty, he came to me, I can't remember how long it was ago, and said, "Dad, there's something wrong with my nipples." So we mean there's something wrong with your nipples? He's like, "My nipples are hurting and they feel weird." And so I grabbed his nipple, and sure enough, he had a little tiny lump behind there. So we took him to the doctor. Doctor put him on anastrozole, and we've tried to take him off the anastrozole twice now, I think. And usually within 4 weeks or so, the gyno comes back. He takes a very small amount. If I remember correctly, he takes 1/4 of a milligram of anastrozole per week to control his gyno that is induced by his puberty. So 1 milligram, I don't know if I would feel comfortable giving my 13-year-old child a milligram of anastrozole. But that's what they did. So I'm not sitting here. The point of this video is not to pass judgment on the safety or efficacy. Clearly it was deemed safe, at least in the short term. So they were given recombinant human GH in the form of somatropin along with 1 milligram of Arimidex per day. And this led to 2.7 inches of additional growth in the adolescent boys whenever the study was ended. So when I was watching the Cody Copa interview that was done by Tony Huge, Tony asked him in that interview if he was concerned about his height, if he was taking any GH or doing anything to affect his adult height. And Cody clearly, again, displayed that he knows what he's talking about. He said that he had read that there was not a whole lot that you could do about adult height. And you can see Tony in the video go, that's not necessarily true. And so he asked to talk to Cody on the side. I suspect that this is the data that Tony likely shared with Cody. As to whether or not Cody is going to attempt to increase his height in this way, we may never know. Cody, if you happen to be watching this video, and this is something that you're interested in doing, I would love to know if you decide to go down that pathway. I would love to have the data, obviously, to publish on my channel. If not, you should definitely publish it on your own, because he said in the interview that he's on the short side. I think he's 5'4", I think he said, at 14 years old. So there you have it. This is the study that I've been referencing, or that I've been mentioning a few times now. So it turns out that there is, in fact, a way to increase an adolescent child's total adult height above and beyond what their otherwise normal genetic potential would be. The question is whether or not a parent wants to sign up for what I consider to be a very large amount of anastrozole per week, and the chronic day in, day out for 3 consecutive years GH injections in attempt to add this height and keep the growth plates from closing. So it would appear that if 1 milligram of anastrozole is what is needed, they're going for very low levels of estrogen in these boys, which we all know can have negative side effects on libido and energy levels, joint support. There's a lot of negative things that come from crashing their estrogen levels. I don't know if their estrogen was crashed. Let's see if they actually did any tests to find out what their estrogen levels were. That would be very interesting to know. Let's see. I don't see. Here's the results. I may let you guys dig through this on your own. Here's serum estradiol concentrations were stable in the anastrozole group, whereas they increased in the placebo group. At 0, 12, 24, and 36 months, anastrozole 9.6, 6.7, 6.6, 8.1 picograms per milliliter. So wow, this is very interesting. So this actually goes a long way to explaining why it is that I was taking 1 milligram of anastrozole per day and still having gyno problems in perfectly natural boys receiving no exogenous testosterone. Even after the administration of 1 milligram of anastrozole per week, they had low normal estrogen levels. 9.6 picograms per milliliter at start. Following the anastrozole treatment at 12 months, it was down to 6.7 picograms, 24 months, 6.6 picograms, and then at the 36-month mark, 8.1 picograms per milliliter. Whereas the placebo group got as high as 16.8 picograms per milliliter. So they effectively cut the total estradiol in half with 1 milligram of Arimidex per week. I am speechless. I cannot believe that their anastrozole levels were, that their estradiol levels were that high with what I thought was an extremely high dose of anastrozole. That is very interesting indeed. And hell, this is probably going to revolutionize the way I treat my own gyno. I thought for sure I was on the verge of crashing my estrogen back into the toilet by taking 1 milligram of anastrozole per week while tapering off the mint. But From what I'm looking at here, that does not seem likely. It begs the question how I have managed to crash my estrogen on more than one occasion, which is backed up by LCMS sensitive tests. I have managed to crash my estrogen into the toilet 2 or 3 times, backed up with tests with substantially less than 7 milligrams of anastrozole per week. So I'm gonna have to dig into this data more after the recording of this video. Maybe there'll be some other people who will be interested in going through this and extrapolating any data that they can. My buddy Kavalser, maybe we'll see him in the comments with his take on what this study would look like in real life with a child and what his view is as far as any negative side effects that you might want to look out for before I go load my kid up. So there you have it. I don't want to beat this point any further. I will link the study data into the description, and it would probably be up on your screen so that you can pick through this if you happen to be Cody Copa or my son, or you happen to have a child that falls into this spectrum. Ooh, spectrum. I don't like spectrum. Into this circumstance, then maybe this information will be valuable to you, because obviously 2.7 inches of additional adult height is a considerable amount and really could be game-changing for somebody, for a young man who's trending on the shorter side in life. So there you have it. As always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.